Good afternoon, and thank you for joining me again for another office hours, where the numbers are always important. It's not just about the numbers. Your financial relationship is not just about the numbers. Part of my job as a strategist is to help you have some aha moments to see that it's not just about the numbers, but it's about that self-discovery, those moments, and helping you see what no longer serves you so that you can release all of that and soar. All that helps with the breakthroughs. That's where you start to shift. That's where the magic happens, be it in your personal finances or in your overall business. So last Thursday, I covered an introduction to budgeting. What is a budget? Some of the biggest mistakes people make around budgeting, and what an efficient and effective budget really is. So go back and look at that training. If you missed it, you definitely want to go back and check that out. So let's just do a recap, right, of what an efficient and effective budget is. So an efficient and effective budget is not just about an estimate of income and expenses. It's a financial system of success, a financial SOS, if you will, which allows you to be intentional with your money, assigning every dollar you earn a job so you can live the life you desire and not the one that you get after paying bills. Most people are not intentional with their money. They're just going about life, doing whatever it is that they're doing and not being intentional. It's that intentionality. It's the intentionality that helps you reach your goals. Can't reach your goals if you don't know what they are, right? So that intentionality is important. And it shouldn't just be income and expenses on bills. And when I say, income and expenses on your budget. So it shouldn't just be income expenses on your budget. It shouldn't it shouldn't just be income and expenses on your budget. It should also be those things that you want to do for the rest of your life, making sure that there's line item allocations for those things, right? So self-care. Too often people will say, "Oh, Crystal, I'm scared to come work with you because I think you're going to tell me I can't go get my hair and nails done. I can't go to Tim Hortons, or I can't go out to lunch at work." I'm not going to tell you what you cannot do. Your money is going to tell you that, right? And then it's up to you to decide if you can or if you cannot, or if you need to cut back. So it's not just the income and expenses that need to be on that budget. Those things, those things typically you're already tracking. You definitely should be. But other things like self-care, personal development, shopping, travel, philanthropy, charity, or tithing, retirement, and even miscellaneous. When I'm working with my clients and we're creating that efficient and effective budget, there's always a line item for miscellaneous because you've been so intentional with every other dollar that you earn, right? That it's important to have something for miscellaneous, because that efficient and effective budget has those things on there that you do all the time, right? The bills, but then the shopping, the self-care, right? Then we've put in those additional line item allocations if you didn't have them for things like retirement, for traveling, entertainment. But also what happens when, you got friends that come in town, or, it's we're celebrating because the Lions are winning, right? And so you're going out and you're doing that a little bit more. Well, we didn't have line item allocations for that because those things don't happen all the time. That's where that miscellaneous fund comes in. That's really, really important. So that when those things happen, you don't have to rely on credit, right? And that it doesn't throw off the rest of your budget. And depending upon how tight your budget is, because some people's budget is going to be really, really tight, that they don't have room for extra, right? So that miscellaneous account works out really well for those one offs that happen, those things that don't happen all the time. So your budget will also have allocations that are important to you, right? There's some things that people just don't understand. So when I'm working with a client and there's something that comes up and you really are spending a lot of money in that area, right? And a lot being your definition of a lot, right? So you don't necessarily take those off. You have to figure out why it is you do that thing. I'll give you a couple examples. Had a client, a couple, and they spent a lot of money eating out, right? Now, running out of money wasn't their issue. Their issue was really having an efficient and effective budget and being intentional with the money outside of the bills. They weren't intentional with that money, right? And they didn't understand why they didn't have the amount of money in savings or set aside for retirement. And this was outside of their jobs 401k. They didn't understand why they were missing out on that. So being able to set up an efficient and effective budget where every dollar has a job allowed us to do that. But in that conversation, we discovered they spent a nice bit of money on eating out because she worked long hours and he had a hard job. And when we started adding up all of the money, and that was outside of groceries, right? And then it was you spend money on groceries and you wind up throwing some of that out because instead of cooking, we've gone and we've gotten fat, we've eaten out. And they weren't necessarily doing a ton of fast food, so they were going to the nicer restaurants. And however, that bill was adding up every single month. And I said to her, the wife, I said, have you ever thought about having a chef? And she looked and I said, yeah. I said, you, and I'm not talking about somebody that just does meal prep where you're having the same thing every single day. I'm talking about you getting with someone who provides this service and you plan out that your meal schedule for the month or for 2 weeks at a time or whatever it is. And every week they're bringing that food. Now, you don't have to necessarily have that person that comes into your house and prepares your food every day. So there's variations to having a chef, but money is supposed to be a tool for us to be able to live nicely, for us to have the things that we want, for us to be able to experience the things that we want to experience, right? And so it's not always just about shopping and going buying more clothes, more shoes, more jackets, more purses, or more sneakers. It's not about that. What about those things that you want to experience? Couples argue about the cleanliness of a house. Well, use your money to have a housekeeper. Now you take that argument out of the way. We're not eating right, or we're spending an excessive amount of money on outside food because our schedules don't allow us to cook. Well, instead of going and doing the restaurants and the DoorDash and those sort of things, put into your budget and allocate for a chef. I was like, you got a cleaning lady, why wouldn't you have a chef? And so she went through that and then started looking for that. But our money is really a tool, right? But we have to be intentional with our money in order, again, to be able to live the life that you want, not the one that you get after paying bills. And so the other thing, though, when you're looking at your budget, is you have to look at why you do a thing. Because you may be doing the thing and it may still be something we need to you need to consider and have a line item allocation for in your budget, even if it seems like you're spending too much money on a thing. You may go to lunch every day for work, right? You leave the building, you go to lunch every single day. Well, you start looking at that and that adds up, that $7 to $12 that you're spending 5 days a week 52 weeks out of the year, that adds up when you start doing and creating that monthly budget. And it's not just enough to say, no, I'm not going to go out to lunch. You got to ask yourself why. Why is that a thing? It's been a pattern. You don't slow down because it's winter and it's snowing, you still go out. So why do you do the thing? And you have to figure out why you do the thing. You may work a really, I don't know, job where the energy is not good inside, or you're dealing with people all day in that job, and you want to go out, leave the building, leave the energy behind, and have that lunch hour just to you in your peace so that you can come back for the rest of the day. Now, that's important to your self care. That's important to your mental health. So that might be a thing that you say, you know what, I can't give that up. And so we make a line item allocation in your budget for that. Now, on the flip side of that is you're just going out to eat because you don't have a real reason. I just didn't feel like bringing food to work or whatever that is. Well, now you look at it and you say, you know what? Okay, I was going out every day. Now I'm not going to go out every day out of the week. I'm going to go out maybe 3 days out of the week or 2 days out of the week, especially if your money says you need to back up from going out to eat every day. So you got to look at it. So if you're looking at how much you spend and you say, you know what, I'm spending too much money in an area, first you want to go back and look at why, because it's may be a thing that you still need to allocate in your budget. And if it's something that you don't have a significant why, and again, a significant why is, you know, just because I want it, or just because I go out to eat, or I buy something lunch every day because I don't want to bring lunch, right? That's not really a significant thing, but you're going out for peace of mind and your health, your mental health. Okay, you're going to allocate that. But if it's not something that needs to just be in there for your peace of mind, or for sentimental reasons, or for health reasons. You know what? I can't eat all of this other stuff. I have to buy gluten free. I can't eat, I have to eat organic. You make you make adjustments in your budget for that, right? And then if it's something that you say and you recognize, because it's totally up to you, that nope, I need to cut this out. Don't start to just try to cut it out. If it's something that you're doing 4 or 5 times out of the week, okay, we're going to Starbucks, or I don't, or somewhere like that, or Tim Hortons, or, Dairy Queen, whatever it is, and you're going 4 or 5 times out a week. And you say, you know what, this is too much, and I can't even justify why I'm doing this thing. Then you go back and you say, you know what, I want to cut this out. Don't start by trying to cut out all cold turkey, because a lot of times that doesn't work. And you do like the thing. So you don't have to deprive yourself of the thing. You may just say, instead of doing it 4 times a week, I'm going to do it twice a week. You still get the satisfaction of doing whatever that thing is. However, you're now doing it in moderation. You haven't cut it out of your life because you did enjoy it. So you still are living the life that you want to live, right? And experiencing the things that you want to experience, but you've had to adjust it based off your budget, right? Based off your budget and based off of what you want to accomplish in your life. So it goes back to being really, really important on how you want to live the rest of your life from this day forward. So that when you're making those allocations, you're making those allocations in your budget based off of how you want to live the rest of your life. And so if traveling is a thing for you and you want to travel and you want to travel a lot, and you haven't been able to do that, then you're looking at those other things on your budget and say, you know what, I can't really justify spending this money on these things, or these are far less important to me than the travel that I want to do. So you cut back on some of those things and reallocate those funds to a travel account for you. So it's definitely heavy lifting up front when you're setting up that budget, but I promise you, it does quite a few things. When doing it, you're going to realize where your money is going, right? You're definitely going to realize where your money is going. But you also get to determine, again, being intentional, how you want to live the rest of your life, and setting that budget up to ensure that you can do that. And so going back to that definition of an efficient and effective budget, for me is it's allowing you to live the life that you desire as opposed to the one that you get after you pay your bills. So let's talk about creating that efficient and effective budget. So what's the process, right? You're in download. You should have already downloaded that my budget worksheet. But what's that process? Couple of things that you want to do. You want to pull out all your bills, and let's talk about those bills first because we know paperless, right? Everything is paperless. So your uh, gas and electric bill and your water bill and your cell phone bill, you can opt to have paperless so that you're not getting those things in the mail. But when you're creating this budget, print them out. Print out the most recent 2 or 3 months, depending upon at least 2, but 3, depending on how you pay your bills. But you want at least 2 or 3 months and you want them printed out. The reason that you want to print them out is because you want to do a deep dive into those bills. We're just getting bills and we're just paying the bills. We're just paying what's due and we're not paying attention to what we're being charged, right? So let's talk about, the gas, electric, water, cell phone. You want to look down those things. It's not something that you have to do every single month, but when you're doing this budget, you want to examine those bills in detail because the other part of doing this budget is where can I reduce cost? And reducing cost doesn't have anything to do with whether you can afford to pay the bill or not. Reducing the cost of the bill has nothing to do with whether you can afford to pay a bill or not. Why am I paying for something that I don't need? Right? Why am I giving my money away to a company for something that I don't need or can't justify paying? Right? I don't watch a lot of TV, so I can't justify having every streaming channel, HBO, Cinema. I can't justify all of that because it's a waste of money to me. Can I pay it? Absolutely. But shouldn't I be more intentional with those dollars and allocate them to something that means something to me, a goal that I'm trying to reach, a way that I'm trying to live my life? So you want to look at those bills. How can I decrease these bills? On your cell phone, are you paying for insurance on your cell phone? Where in some instances, depending upon what credit card you have, if you pay that bill with your credit card, you automatically get cell phone insurance, right? And then you can redirect that 5, 6, whatever. I don't care what the dollar amount is. If it was $2, you can redirect that somewhere else. You don't want to give any organization or anybody 1 penny more than you have to. And it doesn't have anything to do with whether or not you can afford to pay it. So when you're then looking at these bills, you get to do that. You get to see, am I being overcharged for something? Because that happens too. And if you've just been paying the bill, you think, well, this is just what my bill is. But wait, what's this charge? I never even ordered this thing in this service, whatever that is. So going back and reviewing your bills, right? When it comes to homeowners insurance and auto insurance, when's the last time you did a look to see if you could get some less expensive insurance? Again, you can pay what it is that you're paying now. But let's say you have been working on your credit and your credit score is now over 700 when you got those insurance policies initially, say your score was around 600, now your score is 750. Go back and figure out, okay, well, now that my score is this, can I get a better insurance rate? Because your credit scores impact those insurance rates. So this gives you a perfect time to assess what you're paying and being able to scale back on things. We don't want to pay companies more than we should, right? Can we get a better rate because our situation has improved? And or am I paying for something that I just no longer can justify paying for? And am I paying for something that I forgot? And because it's coming out at $15 or at $7 a month, I thought I canceled that subscription and you didn't. Well, now here's an opportunity to look at that. and then reallocate those funds for something else. So process of creating your budget, gathering that information first. So pulling out all of those bills and then plugging those numbers in your budget. That's the first thing, right? Then you want to go back to those bank accounts, right? What else am I spending my money on? So on average, 2 to 3 months, how much am I spending on groceries? How much am I spending on gas? So those things are going to fluctuate. They're typically not going to fluctuate too much, but they are going to fluctuate. Those bills that come from a company, those typically don't fluctuate, or if they do, it's a very small amount. But things like groceries, gas, shopping, those things fluctuate. So you want to take that 2 or 3 month average from your bank statement, plug those numbers in. What's those numbers for self-care? Typically, self-care doesn't fluctuate unless you're getting an additional service, right? Sometimes. So what are those numbers? Plug those things in. By the time you finish plugging all of the things in on your budget, you should be able to highlight all of those things off of that bank statement where you see them coming out. And you should not have any transactions that are not highlighted. If you do, you need to look what are these transactions, right? And should they be going into one of these categories? Is it a brand new category that I need to make for this specific thing other than what's on that budget? That's why you will see other, right? Everything in that bank statement, when you're done plugging in all of those numbers on that budget, everything on that bank statement should be highlighted and those funds should be allocated somewhere. Now, at this point, I know I talked about going back and reviewing and seeing where you can cut costs. At this point, that's not what you want to do. You just want to make sure you're getting all of the information on the budget. And then you're determining where can I cut costs and then reallocating that money from to somewhere else. So if you say, you know what, I totally scaled back on streaming services and cable and all of that, and I was able to cut $150 out. That's not $150 free dollars. You have to assign it somewhere. Some of it may go to miscellaneous, some of it may go to travel, some of it may go to retirement. You may now, that life insurance policy, whatever it is, you want to make sure that you're reallocating that money. So you want to make sure that you're balancing that budget, ensuring income meets or exceeds expenses. Right? So if you say this is how much I'm spending every single month, you then got to determine what is my monthly income. And that calculation differs between 24 pays and 26 pays in a year. Because if it's 26 pays, you can't just take 2 paychecks, right? You have to figure that out based on those 26 pays. So if your pay per month, let's just say your take home, because this is take home pay, let's say it's $3,500 a month. When you completed that budget and added all of those things out there, there's no longer any highlights on that bank statement. And you have all of those expenses and the expenses and the shopping and the self-care and the gas and the groceries. When you've completed that budget, this is the first round. When you've completed that budget and you subtract those total expenses from that monthly net income, what do you come up with? Are you in a negative number? Or is there still money left over? So let's say $3,500 a month is your take-home pay. Your expenses, $2,500 a month. That means you got $1,000 left over. That means you got to assign that $1,000 a job. So you need to look back. Are you going to pay down some debt with part of that $1,000? Are you going to increase your savings account? Are you going to start off with doing some things that you need to do, like you don't have life insurance outside of work? If you got life insurance only in work, it doesn't count. So if you need life insurance, you're going to give me a call. Do you need to get those wills and those POAs done, powers of attorney? If you need that also, you're going to give me a call, right? So you're going to look at that thing. I got $1,000 that's free, or $500 that's free. You need to reallocate that somewhere else. You just don't leave it out there to be unintentional with. And it's not like, okay, you said you wanted to travel more. So I got $500 that I need to reallocate funds to. $250 of it I'm gonna put in a travel account. 100 of it I'm gonna put in, to my retirement account because I'm doing pretty well in that retirement account. I'm going to add an extra $50 to charity or tithing. Whatever that is, you reallocate those funds until you get down to nothing, to zero. So there's no money left in that income because you've allocated it everywhere. You're going to put a couple of dollars in miscellaneous, right? You may increase your shopping. I don't know. Depends on your budget and what your needs are. But you're going to reallocate that income. And then the tips for efficient allocation of resources. You just have to look. You got to pay attention to the numbers, right? Make sure, again, tip number one, everything should have been highlighted on that bank statement and on that budget. If something isn't highlighted, then you're missing something, right? You're going to have aha moments to this thing. You're going to realize, my God, I'm spending money here and I shouldn't be. Well, that gives you an opportunity to reduce that cost and allocate those funds for something else. Don't try to do this in one sitting. That's tip number two. It can be overwhelming. It can be a lot, especially if you've never done it before. Don't try to do it in one setting. Come back, do it 2 or 3 or 4 times. It's okay. The goal is to finish it and get it done. That's the most important part. So you want to make sure that you are going through it, doing it, and seeing where the holes are, right? And again, feel free. This is what I do. So go to crystalgunn.com, schedule a consultation with me, and let's see, can we get your efficient and effective budget going so that you can live the life that you want and not the one that you get after paying bills. So we know it is time for my favorite thing. And it is again an efficient and effective budget. That is my thing. So here are your things to do. Download the household budget worksheet if you did not download it from Thursday. Complete it. Finish it. Do it. I don't care if it takes you 7 tries. Commit to making sure you do the thing and then sit with those results. Don't make rash decisions and say, oh my God, I need to just cut all of this out. Don't do that, right? You still want to be able to enjoy your life. Part of doing this budget is you're also going to see where there's some healing that needs to take place. You can't go through this thinking that, oh, it just is what it is. There's healing in every area of our life. Being able to do this efficient and effective budget and understanding and writing out how you want to live the rest of your life. There's some healing that's going to happen in this place. There's some habits that you're going to have to release. There's some patterns that you're going to see. There's some things that you're going to be able to figure out about you. You're going to see what you value over you. All of that comes with healing, but you got to put in the work and do it. So download the household budget worksheet, complete it, and then sit with the results. And the fourth thing that's not on here, listen, schedule a consultation with me. Work with me, and if not with me, with someone. However, don't try to weather the storm yourself. We got to let go of that what happens in this house stays in this house type of mentality. We have to let go of the embarrassment, and I talked about that in that previous budget. We have to let go of the embarrassment. We have to stop being secretive. We have to start talking about money. The only way that you heal from things are to talk about them. Now, you can't talk about them with somebody that can't help you, though, right? And so somebody that you look at that you think is doing really well because they dress the part, they drive the part, but you don't know what's going on behind the scenes. So part of this whole thing is healing. It is a process. You are healing your financial relationship and you're rebuilding it so that it suits you. Because remember, everyone has a financial relationship. But 9.9 times out of 10, it wasn't created by you and it doesn't benefit you. So going through these exercises and then working with someone like me, because we do a lot of financial therapy, helps you to build a financial relationship that benefits you and helps you reach your life's goals. Okay? This is the fastest 30 minutes ever. But do me a favor, if this information has been helpful, Please subscribe to my channel and be sure to turn notifications on so that you don't miss training. I do have slots open for personal financial strategy, and I also have slots open for business strategy. Go to crystalgunn.com. The website is in the description. And also, if you just want to just skip straight to setting a consultation with me, that link is also in there. And as we wrap up this for today, remember, always, always give yourself some grace. Keep striving for your next level and never give up on you. Invest in you. I promise you, it will change your life. Thank you so much for joining me today. Join me in the private Q&A that follows. The link is in the description. And remember, in all things you do, make it amazing. Thank you for watching. I appreciate your time. Be sure to join me for the private online Q&A immediately following. The link is in the description. And if you haven't done so already, please be sure to subscribe to my channel and turn notifications on so you never miss this opportunity. Thank you again, and I will see you on the other side.